Hi there. I'm here to help you master yourself to master your business. Donna Lynn Riley, good to see you here today. So whether you are a direct seller, a network marketer, or an independent, one thing we all have in common is wanting to make our mark, right? Wanting to make our mark with a business that is successful and authentic. And it's part of our nature to want to feel valued and to make an impact. And that's where mastering yourself becomes super, super important. So you do not want to miss today's topic, and you do want to stay all the way to the end because there's all sorts of things we're going to get to that you may not have thought of. So, of course, the best bit is at the end. So stick with me today, right? And before we get into it, I just want to check and see where everybody is. Say hello. So in the meantime, before I go looking at the tech, let's get on the page. I have two cards for you today. Just write A or B in the chat on your platform, in the comments on your platform, depending on which one you really resonate with today. So the first one is, okay, I'm going to give you guys this. It's not the one I had thought it was going to be. What is your first next step? What is it? Do you resonate with that? Is that like where you are today? Or your heart already knows the way, trust that. So A or B, put it in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to look around, make sure everybody's all plugged in, and that I can really be here with you with the security of tech, right? So hello, hi Tammy and Timothy and Regina and Julia. This is so great. I'm glad you guys are, it's happening. It's happening. B, okay, B it is. Your heart already knows the way. Trust that. So that's where we are. Oh, go Tammy. Tammy is on the first next step. That's fantastic. It's a really nice way to think about how to move forward, isn't it? So anyway, today we are going to talk about the best business investment that pays off the most. So that's always the question, isn't it? It's always like, that's the big thing that everybody always wants to know is like, where do I put my money or my time or my effort, right? That it will make the actual biggest difference, the biggest impact on my success and what I'm trying to do, right? Sometimes it feels like there's got to be some magic answer that it's the same for everybody and they're hiding it under a rock, but I know they all have it, right? And in a way, there kind of is a magic answer, right? Because what does it take to move beyond your own history? What does it take to move beyond your own self-conception, your own thinking, to become the success that you really want to be, right? So for each of us, the answer is really different, right? But the path is often absolutely the same. Investing in your personal growth is the essential path that has the biggest impact on your business. And it's not just because I'm saying so. I'm going to talk to you about some people who have done that and what their results have been. Just to think about, what is it that because you can always buy another Facebook ads course, right? They're all out there. And there's nothing wrong with Facebook ads course, except for the fact that most of them you can actually get for free on Facebook, but whatever. Nothing wrong with getting the technical skills, but slow it down a little bit, right? Because the difference between you and Oprah, or you and Richard Branson, or you and Mark Cuban, right? It's not luck or circumstances. The difference between success and failure, it's all what goes on between your ears, right? We all know that. That's common knowledge in the world. We know that we all have the same amount of time. We really kind of all have the same amount of resources, even though our circumstances vary a lot, right? We can breathe air and most people have food. And so there's some resources that you have at your fingertips, right? And we can communicate. And so once you've got all that, then you're on an even playing field with all those people that are mega, mega successful, except for what's going on in here. So let's just focus on that a little bit, right? Investing your time, energy, and money, it's essential. So you study your products, because you already know that you have to do this. You study your products or your methodologies, and maybe even sign up for challenges and systems that are supposed to make you more productive, right? Because everybody's done that, self included. Everybody's done that. Oh, if I could just find a way to make myself different, maybe I'll try a new schedule, right? But what have you really gotten out of it? What have you really gotten out of it? Right? Because usually most people get a temporary boost. They get that, woo, everything is good for a few minutes. And then the kind of prescribed actions get old, or they lose their magic, or you just forget about them, right? Because they were really far beyond where you are today, right? So it can leave you feeling really, really hollow. Right? Knowing that it's in you, that it's you that has to change in some way, but not knowing in what direction or how to speed up the process. So that means your time is the most valuable asset that you cannot afford to fritter away. That's time. We all get a budget when we start in this world. We don't get to know what it is, so you can't fritter it away. So how are you investing your time, right? Seth Godin posted in his blog just the other day about how much time people waste on their phones. He said, if we wasted money the way we waste time, we'd all be bankrupt. Your time is more valuable than any amount of money. And you can actually earn more money, right? But you're never going to get that time back. Once you've spent time, it's done. It's over. You got a budget, you spent this much of it, right? Money's not like that. Money is flow. It comes and goes. And unless you're going to talk about eternalness and things like that, time doesn't do that, right? So money has flow. It will come in, it will go out. Hopefully there's flow through you and you can always make more, right? So it isn't the most valuable asset, isn't the thing that you can spend and get a lot back on. The thing that you can spend is time, and the thing that you spend it on in order to get the most back is what? What is it? It's clarity. It's clarity. I'm actually going to pop into the chat here because this is perfect timing, Tammy. Thank you for saying this about feeling stuck again. That's right. You know, you do all the monkey actions and you're like, oh, I'm going to make it happen. And, and then you're back where you started. But when you have clarity, when you know what you want in here, when you know what the vision is in here, when those two things are in sync, when you have control over this and this, then you can really get yourself focused in a way where clarity is easy for you to reach for. And clarity is the one big thing that creates exponential growth. No matter who you are or what your circumstances are, right? Oprah Winfrey didn't become a household name because she's the best at anything, really, except knowing herself, at following that guiding light relentlessly. And that is the story that I hear when I hear her story. having the perspective that allows clarity. It's not easy. It isn't something that most people do. And keeping that clarity while the rest of the world thinks you're completely crazy is even harder, right? Because isn't that always the case? You're like, whoa, I got this great idea. And then you tell 6 of your friends and you're like, oh, I guess I don't have a great idea. But in fact, that may not be true, right? That's about clarity, about getting clarity, and then about being able to maintain that clarity even in the circumstances of your life. So what's the easiest way? You know it. Having a mentor, a coach, right? Oprah had Maya Angelou. There are very few people in the world who don't have coaches at that level, who don't have coaches. I think I named Richard Branson, and he has a coach or a mentor, Fred. I forgot his last name. That is unusual for me. And he was a very successful in the business, in the airline business, and he had a mentor, right? Because you have to reach, you have to know that you can get to that clarity. So, how many of you right now? Hey, Philippa, thank you so much. It is valuable. Thank you so much. How many of you right now, just put in the chat, I'll ask you this question and then we'll do it. How many of you right now have a coach, right? So if you have a coach, put coach in the chat. And if you don't have a coach, just put solo in the chat, right? And even if you're on a replay on this, it's really important. Take inventory of where you are, right? Because if you don't know where you are, then you can't know where you're going, and you certainly can't know what path you want to take for that. So, coach or solo, let me know. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kathy. It's so good. So good. So a coach can really help you take control of the time that you have, that limited resource, right? And tap into your clarity. Oh, I see you guys answering. That's so great. So great. And once you have that, once you have control over your time and your clarity, then you can blow the doors off of the barn. You know what I mean? Then you can really make it go in any direction you want. Do you guys ever play those games? I like to play little games sometimes. I waste a little time on the phone. And they end up with these, like, you can just shoot rockets out and laser beams and all sorts like that. That's what happens to our energy, right? That's what really happens when we get very focused and very tapped in and very clear. Then we're really, really powerful in the ways that we want to be powerful in our lives. So this is what my friend Stephanie said about her coaching experience, right? I'm going to just read it to you. Want to know which investment I spent the most time on? Which, of course, is what I said, and which keeps paying off dividends. It's business coaching. Easily my strongest investment of the year. I was so embarrassed and terrified to hire a coach. I didn't want anyone to know that I needed help. Isn't that always the case, you know? But I quickly realized that we all need help. I had some intense mindset issues to work through, but I worked hard and quickly and started seeing breakthroughs. Within 2 months of the end of my coaching, I created 2 new businesses, monetized both, and repaid my coaching investment. So we were talking about ROI at that moment, and she said 3 times, 3x the coaching investment inside 2 months, generated from completely new sources that would not come without clarity, right? Without the ability to have a little perspective and know the direction that you want to go in and that you allow to happen in your life, right? So here's another one. I'll let you know. So sweet. Yes, that's right. Laker, Freddie Laker. Thank you so much, Timothy. It's true. It's true. That's Richard Branson's mentor is Freddie Laker. Thank you. So these are the results according to Nancy, right? She's in this really high pressure kind of quota situation, right? And she said, I'm more patient and consistent, which create a good atmosphere where I can be myself. So this happens a lot. I'm going to just interrupt this quote because this happens a lot when we're under pressure, right? When we're under pressure, we can't be patient. We're like, that's fine, but when are you going to sign the paper is really what's going on behind us, right? That's fine, but how much product are you going to buy? Because you're under pressure. And when you have control over yourself and you have that clarity and you have the confidence and you're able to tap in, all changes. Okay, more patient and consistent, which creates a good atmosphere where I can be myself. It's what I want in business, what you want in business, right? Connect with people who are like-minded and do my best by my clients. It's much easier to make a sale. And I enjoy feeling, I feel the way, wait, let me read it back. I feel this way mostly because I enjoy it more and am less stressed, more inspired. So that's the power, right? That's the power that we're talking about. Why would you invest? Why is there one thing that we say, this is the best place you can put your time, energy, money, right? Because that's really what this whole topic is about, is like, how do I go there fast, right? So even the little things that you don't register can be the difference between making a sale and building the business, or not making the sale and not building the business, right? Standing up back on the hamster wheel, ending up back on the, I see you. Oh, okay. Sorry. Interrupted myself with the comments. Ending up back on the hamster wheel. You know what I mean? So that's what it was like for Lisa. So her job involved a huge amount of memorization. And that was a really big issue for her. And so she says, after 2 months, she says, I'm not as anxious when speaking about a product with a client. I speak more matter-of-factly, and this has helped me tremendously with how much effort a sale takes. How much effort does it take you, right? Because that is a huge quality of life and tug on time. Because what happens to your time? It's like that thing we were talking about with Seth Godin, right? About how we waste time on the phone. Because what happens to your time when you feel dragged down, when you feel like you have nothing left to give? What happens to most people is they end up in front of the boob tube, right? They end up looking at TV, flipping the channels, or sleeping if they're smart, or eating lots and lots, or watching tons of movies, or having a good cry, right? All of these things take time away from the direction we want to go, from that clarity that you have, that you can tap into. And then we're right back, getting right back here to the financial impact, right? Because now we've lost all the time, which we can't get back, but we can get the money back, right? So the impact of coaching with Tony, and this was really impressive to me because Tony didn't think she could move the needle when she started, right? And she said, I made more sales than I thought was possible during this program that she was in. They were larger sales than I thought possible too. I feel that moving forward, I am capable of doing this on my own as a trend. Like somebody, in the chat has said here, I won't call you out, about going solo, right? You're going solo, and that's okay. There's a lot that's kind of wonderful about being on our own and feeling like we made it ourselves. But when we do that all the time, then we can end up on the hamster wheel that you were talking about earlier, right? We can end up in that sort of like, oh, I'll do this thing I read in a book, even though you have no guidance on that thing. So learning the skills of the tapping in, then you can go solo, right? Because then you can do it. And as long as you can do that consistently, which some people can, some people can't, right? You get overwhelmed again. That's right. That's right. It can be really overwhelming. So remember, there is a difference between spending money and investing money, right? Because when you spend, that money is gone. And when you invest, that money should come back to you, right? That's the whole difference. Is like, did you spend or did you invest? And that's the question you got to ask yourself when you're making buying choices, right? When you're getting out your wallet, is, am I spending at the spa, right? Or am I investing, right? So I want to tell you guys about a survey from 2019, because, I sort of used some really personal stories to illustrate this. But this is not just personal. This is not just, I'm the best coach in the world, and that means that you should be my client, right? That's not what this is about. This is about really getting that with mentorship, you can get somewhere in business. So I'm going to go back to how did 1,000 people answer the question, right? Who were not my clients. This is just about coaching and having guidance. So in a survey from 2019, and there were over 1,000 respondents in it, more than 9 out of 10 said that investing in their personal development, right? In this, right? Connecting these two things, all of that. In investing in their personal development through coaching contributed to a significant increase in their business. And I think that that stat, although the only one that I remember, it was more than 9 out of 10 for for significant difference, but it was like more than half of the people doubled their income inside 2 years. It was kind of a lot of money. And it's important that we know that there is a connection, right? There's a connection between money, which we all want and we think comes by jumping through the hoops and, having jobs and moving the papers from here to there and writing the emails. And that's what we think it comes from, right? We think it's because I have the widget and you want the widget, and so you give me the money, right? But that's not where it comes from. It's not where money comes from. Money comes from our ability to master this and this into a stream of energy that allows you to communicate really well with people. And then you're in concert with one another. Then you're in communication with one another. Then people cannot wait to do business with you, right? So what is your investment strategy, I ask you? When it comes to your personal development to grow your business, what is your investment strategy? Or do you have one? Do you have one? If you have one, write yes. If you don't have one, just write no. It's okay. No one will ever know. It's okay not to have a plan, but it is important to say to yourself, maybe it's time for me to learn to be strategic about the decisions I'm making here, right? Because we love to disassociate this kind of like, oh, I feel this and I think that. We're sort of discounting that, right? But if you feel something and you think something, then, and you want something, then there is likely going to have to be some sort of strategy in order to get there. So think about what could be your investment strategy for you. Okay. So consistently challenging your thinking, correcting course, right? When your thoughts are stuck in those unhealthy patterns of negativity and self-defeat and worry and stress, it's something we all have to do. We all have to, that's what we do. It's like driving a car, right? We don't go like, well, if you do, you're going off the road, right? But instead we go like this the whole time. Beep, 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 beep. And now we're going kind of in a straight line to where we want to go. So having a good coach aids the process. It helps you to stay proactive. I am so glad that you have ideas. I am so glad about this because I feel like if you can get a really good idea of what that investment strategy is, then you can enact it. So congratulations, Tammy. Good for you. Okay. So I know that sometimes it's really scary to take a leap, and that usually coaching is a lot of money. And so that's where people get hung up. They're like, ooh, I got a stream that's very small, and now somebody wants to take a lot of it. And I don't think I'll get it back, right? That's where the problem is. So I created for you guys right now a special on my website. Take a look at it. If it works for you, good. If it doesn't, no stress. Come back next week. We'll do this again, right? We're going to keep talking about how to master your mind, how to master yourself in order to master your business. But it goes so much faster when you can get your individual advice, right? Because each of us have had these different backgrounds. And so some of us come to the plate. In fact, I looked at somebody's offering the other day, and it was 3 months, and it was overwhelmed. It was like, what you needed to know from birth until now. And I thought to myself, I've been on the planet a while. I know a bunch of stuff, right? So you don't need necessarily to consume all of that information, right? You need to get your answers on how to get that clarity, how to get what people love to call accountability. I like to call it inspiration because I think that it comes from a slightly different place, and that's really important. But anyway, go and check that out. If you want to master yourself, to master your business, then this is absolutely a no-brainer. Julie's going to put that in the chat for me on all of the platforms there. And just check it out. Oh, no, there was something else I wanted to tell you. I was like, thank you. The thing that I forgot to say is the package is really good. It's inexpensive and it's really good. But if you want to take advantage of this, that special by the end of the month, so that's Tuesday or something, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. If you want to take advantage of that before the end of the month, then I am going to actually include a laser coaching session 2 weeks later. So that's a 15-minute appointment 2 weeks after your original appointment, plus all the recordings and all the stuff that's listed there. So don't stress about that. But know that I'm going to add that in because a lot of times you need another course correct, or you have a bunch of questions that you didn't get answered, and you feel like one of the people were saying here, actually, I think it was Tammy that was talking about, like, I'm solo and this is where I am. And I don't know if she likes being solo or she doesn't like being solo, but if she does, it's okay. You can do that and still checking in. Okay, I will go back and look at that. Thank you. Sorry to get interrupted there. But you can do that and still get, do the course correction and then be solo for a little while, and then do the course correction and then be solo for a little while. It's a really good, it's a possible way to do it, right? Because we each get to choose how we want to do this. There's no prescribed way. You don't have to do it exactly the same as everybody else, which I love. So I am going to go back over here. There is a question on YouTube. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I see it now. So is there a difference between a mentor and a coach? So that's a really good question. It's a really good question. So, yes, there is a difference between a mentor and a coach. So a mentor typically is someone who has what you want, right? So we talked about Freddie Laker being Richard Branson's mentor. Freddie Laker was already in business where Richard Branson wanted to be. Okay. That is a mentor. And they can be very useful if what you're looking for is the steps that they took. Now, time goes on and the world changes, as we have seen in the past year, in a really significant way. So sometimes that's really useful information, and sometimes it's not really useful information, right? Sometimes it's outdated information. So a mentor is usually in that category where they've done a thing and they know what their path was and they're willing to tell you about it. Typically, mentors are not teachers and they are not students, right? They are not people who have learned a bunch from a lot of people, implemented it, and then are skilled at bringing that information to you in a way that you can ingest it. So what happens sometimes with mentors is that you end up in situations that are kind of uncomfortable, right? And they in fact, this is not just a mentor thing. I have a client who had a coach in another part of her life, and it was much more like that relationship that we were just describing, where she didn't have the tools. The person, the woman in the coaching position, did not have the tools to communicate it. So it could get very, very uncomfortable for my client. And then we had the unpacking to do on what was happening there, and how could she, just because the person had had success in that area didn't mean that she could really get my client to that same place. So that's typically the difference between a mentor and a coach, or a mentor and a well-trained coach, right? Because you want to make sure that you're with someone who has some skill at whether they've been taught that skill or they've been born into that skill, right? Sometimes teachers are teachers from the minute the word go, right? So really connecting in there and seeing, is this someone that I can hear? Is this someone who seems to know how to speak to me in a way that I can accept it, right? Because a lot of times we can get our guard up, and then it doesn't matter what people say to you. It's over. You've shut the door, right? Those barn doors aren't blown off. They're closed up. So yeah, that is often the difference between a mentor and a coach. A coach is really a teacher, usually, and a mentor is usually someone who is in the spot you want to go to, or has been in the spot that you want to go to. And so, yeah, Monday is February 1st. So super. Thank you for asking that question, Philippa. I think it's a really significant question. And I wouldn't get too hung up on the words, because the intention that we just talked about is the important thing, right? Having someone that you can hear is the important thing. And who has some skill at delivery and at understanding where you are in a very nuanced way. So Monday is February 1st. So from now till Monday, you're going to get an extra coaching session in that package if you decide to pick it up. Feel free to reach out, ask any questions that you would like. But as you know, my goal is always to help you to build an easy, lucrative, and fun business, right? So take advantage of the flash sale, and I will see you on my calendar. See you later.